To some people, this video could seem kind of boring. However, it's got a few mentions of some tech and some processes that are absolutely vital. So apologies for this being a kind of raw and a bit of a weird video, but let me run you through my daily process for ingesting my media, because it's absolutely paramount. So I've kind of had this process for quite a while now. I mean, I've been traveling quite a lot over the last few years, and over the last few months, especially from the start of this year, we've done extensively throughout Japan. I'm now currently in Oregon, in America. So there's a whole backlog of videos. Those are going to be coming soon. So if you are waiting on those, I do apologize. There's a backlog, but part of the reason is because of all this. However, this does kind of minimize it as much as possible. So let me run you through my daily process of kind of what I do with my tech gear and my camera gear, and charging my batteries and importing my media across multiple cameras, because it can become a little bit of a head mess. So let's start with the batteries over here. So generally what I want to do when we check into our apartment or accommodation or whatever is lay out the cameras and set up the chargers for the batteries. So we got a few cameras here. So this is the Fujifilm X-E3 that Ellie's shooting photos with. This is the GH5S. So Panasonic, as a sponsor of the channel, have loaned that to us. This is my Fujifilm X-H1. I've got the 50-140 on at the moment. And then the Fujifilm X100F. And what I'll generally do is I'll get the cameras out and I'll work out which ones have batteries that are kind of nearing empty, or fully empty or whatever, and then I will lay them out. And then one of the most important things I will carry along with my chargers is this power extension lead. So I've got a few for different regions of the world. So obviously we're in America at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll take a power strip and I will take individual cables rather than use adapters for around the world. I'll actually just replace the cable. It's far cheaper to replace the cable than it is to buy multiple adapters. And then I'll bring my chargers. Of course, everything is labeled. Makes it easier if you're traveling with other creatives and you know whose is whose. And then I'll just keep stuff charging just like this. And then I'll also lay out my battery sort of pouch. So I've got a few extra Fujifilm batteries in here, and then I just use loom bands and I'll put them around them to let me know that they're fully charged. This is such a simple system, but makes it so easy to know which batteries are empty, which ones are charged, and I'll just keep them in this pouch and that goes in my camera bag. So I generally find that if I don't set up my battery charging station, then I kind of delay actually charging batteries until right before I go to bed, and it's just such an extra thing that's just really annoying to have to think about. So I'll try and make it one of the first things I'll do as soon as I check in somewhere. I'll just plug it in, designate a space, and that's it. So yeah, just being able to unplug it all and just put it straight into my case is super useful. But I also can't stress enough how important it is to travel with a power extension lead. A lot of hotels and places maybe have 1 or 2 sockets available for you to plug in, and it's just such a pain to have to navigate around a room. There's likelihood that when you check out you'll forget chargers and all sorts, so just have an extension lead. It's so easy. So now let's go through the import process and how I organize that. So over here we've got my MacBook Pro set up, and what I'll do is I'll usually just line up all of my SD cards and just have them ready to import. And then on my MacBook Pro, so on the back, so I've actually just got this black vinyl here from dbrand. And this just kind of like covers the lid. I just like the matte black, to be honest. So on the back here, we've got 2 Samsung T5 SSDs. So this is a 2TB version. This is a 1TB version. Now the benefit of using SSDs over HDDs, so solid state over hard disk, is because, well, for one, they are physically so much smaller. Now I know they are way more expensive, but mainly they are just so much faster to work with. So the read and write speeds are just so much better than hard disks. But not only that, The actual drives themselves don't have any moving parts, so you're able to do things such as this, like stick them to the back of your computer. You can move them around. There's less of a worry about physically damaging them compared to hard disk drives. I've actually damaged hard disks on a moving train before, a place where I thought was quite stable, but it's really not. So having SSDs is absolutely vital for me, especially given the amount of travel that I do. But of course, using SSDs comes at a cost, and it's down to whether you can justify it for your business or for everything that you're doing. For me, it's completely worth it, and I'm in no way trying to justify it or defend, spending $700 or whatever on a drive. It's just a necessary thing. Again, it's a boring necessary. That's everything this video is about. It's just boring necessities of daily photography, filmmaking life. Got another, this is an hard disk drive. So this is a Western Digital. It's kind of a cheap one. It's a 4 terabyte. I use that for my full backups of everything. The SSDs on the back are my working drives that I actually edit from. So the 2 terabyte I use for video, and the 1 terabyte I use for photography. Now, before everyone fills the comments with all their hate for USB-C and MacBook Pros, here's another little boring piece of tech that you should definitely pick up if you're doing this. Instead of buying dongles and whatever for your MacBook Pro, just replace the cable. I can't stress how annoying it is to see so many people complaining about the whole dongle life with the MacBook Pro, and having to spend £70 or whatever on a dongle just so that they can use USB. Just honestly, just replace the cable. Replace your USB 3 cable or whatever. You'll probably only need 3, maybe 4 in total, each of which will probably cost you about £1.50. Just replace all your cables, carry them with you, and you can use your old devices as normal. Do not stress over this. Now, one of the most boring pieces of tech, but also probably the most useful, is this. This is a card reader. Now, let me tell you a little bit of a story behind this, because I'm so glad it finally exists. So ever since I've been doing video and photography combined, I've had this utter need for a card reader that can simultaneously import from multiple cards. Now, as you saw, I've got multiple SD cards there, so we've got multiple cameras going on, all sorts of things. That's just the nature of our work and what we're doing, but it's kind of doubled because we do photo and video at the same time. So what I've been looking for a long time is a card reader that is UHS-2 compatible, which is the fastest SD card throughput of data you can get on an SD card. So I've been looking for a card reader that supports UHS-2 for 2, if not more, cards to run simultaneously. Now, there are card readers that will handle multiple card formats. Some of those will actually throttle the speed. They'll slow down the speed if you connect multiple cards. Some of them don't even allow multiple cards to be connected at once. It will only register one at a time. Imagine my joy when I find out that ProGrade finally made a USB 3.1 generation 2, so the fastest USB available in USB-C flavor, that supports SD UHS-2. So that means I can transfer 2 memory cards at full speed, which I think is about 10 gigabits a second on dual channels. Like, that is just amazing. I can just plug in cards, I can just offload, keep going, rather than just having to wait on that, because the speed is fast, but also I can do it simultaneously, which is just incredible. They've actually got a few different variations of their card readers. They've got ones for compact flash, ones for SD. And yeah, this is literally a card reader that every 6 months or so I would search for, and now it finally exists. So I picked this up in Japan. It's available on Amazon. I'll have it linked in the description. So if you do want to get one, those links are affiliated to me, but it is by no means the reason why I would want to mention or include this, because honestly, this is so good. This is such a great addition to my camera bag, and it's kind of boring, It's just a boring thing, but it's essential. It's really, really necessary. So I've actually made a video about my full import process before, but let me just quickly run through the essential to it. So I have my project set up here, and I've got these all as template folders. And in my source video, for example, I literally have a folder template here. And all I would do is I'll do Command D to duplicate that folder, and then I will rename it to the current date and anything kind of significant that happened on that day. So for example, today we're looking through and I can then get all of these folders for my cameras. I'll drop in the footage for those, and then I'll mark it as green when I've actually imported everything. I will then select all of that footage. Literally I can select multiple folders, and I will drop it into this program down here called Edit Ready. I'll then drop all of those files into here, and I just have a few sort of presets set up, and I'll use this to create low resolution proxies. So I film everything in 4K, but I edit from 1080 using proxies via Premiere Pro. It's very easy to do. You just link them and whatever. But the proxy files allow this Mac to just run faster and more efficient. It does take time to create the proxies, but it saves you so much time in the edit. So I'll let Edit Ready run through those, and it's probably the fastest I found for creating proxies. It's pretty great. So after I've imported all of the video footage and the photos into Lightroom, whatever, I'll then take those master folders and I'll need to back them up. And we actually back them up in two locations. So I do have another SSD. This one is the G Drive SSD. I think that's literally what it's called, SSD Rugged or something like that. That is a 2 terabyte version. So I bought those after the Samsung ones. They are cheaper. I do find they don't mount as fast as the Samsung ones, but I think the read and write speed is technically the same. So they should be the same for editing. But generally, we use the G Drive one as a backup to the Samsung ones. Ellie edits videos off of the G Drive one for the Jelly Journeys channel. And yeah, mostly it's kind of seen as a backup drive, but it's identical to the Samsung 2 terabyte drive that I have. Then I also make another backup onto the Western Digital 4 terabyte drive that you saw, which is kind of a cheapo drive, but it's just like a fail safe. And I've actually done that multiple times over the last few years, and I keep those drives at home and I just label them with the year, and I don't adjust them when the year ends. I just leave that as a record for the year that existed. By the way, if you want to see my continued data management setup, I've made another video about my Synology system that I have at my sort of office at home in London. So these are some of the drives that I carry with me when we're traveling, but whenever we go back to London, and for the most part, I keep everything organized on a little server there, so you can go and check that out in a video linked up here. Now, what has prompted me to actually make this video and kind of share the sort of daily rundown of what I'm doing with stuff is because I've had this idea recently of creating a spreadsheet that just helps me mentally organize the process that I'm going through and to reduce any errors of accidentally formatting the wrong card, which thankfully hasn't happened in a good few years or so. But just making sure that everything is as processed and as, efficient as possible. So what we've got going on over here is the date of which everything has been processed. Then we have the individual cameras labeled for video, and then check marks for when they're imported, proxies created, and then backups made and cards formatted. And I can just go through and create a whole new line for each date. And you'll see that as I go through, I've got conditional formatting on here. So if I click to check mark these, it will also make it green. These ones make them red. And I can just see when I last formatted a card and make sure that I've definitely imported and backed up everything for photo and video. Now, this spreadsheet that I've made, I'm not quite sure how to do it yet, but I'm going to work out a way to kind of share it so that if you want to also have that spreadsheet, you can just kind of make a copy in Google Sheets and add it to your own account. I think you can do that. I think I can create like a read-only one. Whatever, the details for it I'll leave in the description and possibly in a comment as well, so you can just go and check that if you want to get this spreadsheet as well. So I know it's a kind of boring, setup of things, but it is honestly something that I have to do pretty much every day that I'm making these videos and other stuff. And it does eat into time. Like, it's currently just gone midnight, and I've spent the last couple of hours organizing the media and everything. And of course it does create a backlog. Like, as you know, I've filmed so many videos over the last couple of months throughout Japan and this road trip we've done through America. Those will be coming soon. I know I keep saying that, but honestly, they are probably some of the best videos we've made. And I want to spend the time to make sure that they are as good as they can be and just kind of create something special with those. But yeah, this kind of boring setup of things is so essential to your workflow. And I'm a person of process. I love processes, I love workflows, I love efficiency. So hopefully you've been able to find some sort of insight with that. And you can go and check out those other videos that I've got on my import process for Lightroom and for Premiere as well. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then feel free to share with some of your friends who are maybe a little bit messy with their file organization. It might just help them out a little bit. All right, so thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel to catch those future videos that are coming that I keep mentioning. But honestly, we're so close. We're so close to releasing them. I've got a week left in America, and then it's going to be all systems go on those future videos. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and I will catch you in another video soon. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.